into the information because, well, we've got a lot of fun and interesting topics to get through before we get into games. So do a quick speed run. We got Ethic, Arian, who is not actually going to be in. That's going to be P, who's playing. Baby Poo, Schmirkio, who's also not going to be playing or under a different name. Maybe correct me if I'm wrong. And
They're
Mossy.
playing. They're just under Christian Dior.
Okay. Yeah, so some swap ups, but this is actually the same roster that took the pitch for the last week, the first week of play, where unfortunately this Trent roster couldn't quite take the W and lost out to actually the A team for Carleton, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, they lost 2 out of the Carleton Ravens, and week is their opportunity to take a bat at the sister team, Carleton Ravens Black. So let's take a look at those players, which we have Lander, Fidel, Kaizen, Izartic, and Jihuna. But this week we'll have Leves, Left Toe, Mino, Izartic, Fidel, and Bling Bling Boy playing for Carleton Ravens Black, who also was the roster that played for week 1. So they're building the chemistry, right, Vincent?
Yeah, listen, you have a pretty wide roster typically for these collegiate games, and so
Mhm.
a lot of times you can get some back and forth with the roster. That not being the case here, I think is massive. It really helps if you can get officials under your belt consistently as a full squad, and that's what we're doing today. So as we jump into the map veto, let's talk about this because we actually know what went down in the previous week. Zobi, talk to me a little bit about what you're seeing here.
Yep. So our 3 maps, the battlegrounds are going to be Sunset, Lotus, and Bind. Sunset chosen by Trent Excalibur Green, and Charlton choosing Lotus. And it's interesting because both these teams actually lost their map picks in week 1. So not only is this a chance for redemption, but then there's that kind of odd one out for each of these teams. Lotus not having been played yet by Trent Excalibur Green, and Sunset not being played just yet by Carleton Ravens Black. So we have some agent comp expectations based on week 1, but like you mentioned, these teams are still growing, still adapting to each other's playstyles since it's a new season. So maybe we'll get something different altogether.
Well, and I think that there's some serious or some interesting thought behind. Hey, maybe we didn't win, but we do
Mhm.
have actual game experience, and you're never really sure what the problems are going to be until you get into game and find out okay what's being dealt with correctly, what's not. I think that playing here, what should we be looking for?
Oh, I mean, I'm looking at this Breach Rays combination over here on the A side, looking like they're going to try and send Azartic there aggressive to kind of gather information. So I'm expecting to see, some response on the side of Trent Excalibur Green to challenge that, right? But no, there's actually a flood as well through tiles. No defensive cipher here on the B site, so there's nobody home, right? Other than that information collecting utility, the trips, the spy cam. So it's going to be a full 5-on-5 retake here, actually, out of the pistol.
Well, and that's the cam down, so no further information. Sure, they know that they're on the site, and they know that this is going to be a fast move for the retake. It's Arctic already been spotted out. That's, well, it was looking like a chunky paint shells. It's Bling Bling Boy to make the connection alongside Minnow. This down and now into a 3-on-3 where Trent, they have a good hold of the site, but they're quickly going to be cut down if they can't deal with this push from Main and from Gelato, and that's the biggest issue. Isolating tools, Mossy can't find it, and we'll close this round in the favor of the Ravens.
Yeah, I mean, Trent Excalibur Green did a good job of dealing with the flank before that double pinch setup, that double pinch pressure from Boba came in. And then once they had to split their attention, they couldn't prioritize the timing well enough, and it just crumbled because players, like you said, were isolated, taking their own fights and missing the shots on them. I do want to praise Carleton Ravens, though, because also it looked a little dicey at first when Izartic swung alone there on the flank, and then it was kind of the last tomb, and Bling Bling Boy to recover a little bit for the team. Either way, though, a great pistol, great kind of out the gate surprise strategy we might not have been expecting, but they can't pull that out every round. So we're gonna have to see a little bit more stable of action here, which might be why the Cypher's on the B side this time.
I mean, hey, someone's on the B side this time.
Yeah.
I like
Ooh.
the ambition though, right? That we saw in that pistol. Take an aggressive maneuver and just kind of stick with it. It worked out beautifully for them. Sometimes it won't, but when it does, you really love to see that. This is looking like a pretty pedestrian type of pistol anti-eco round at the moment. Down to simply 2 for Trent's squad.
They found my one enemy remaining.
There it is. Flawless off of the Spectre spray. I mean, there's the uses of that trip top mid is if you're not expecting it, it can completely halt any kind of play. But I mean, Trent Excalibur Green not really doing anything wrong per se. Like you mentioned, it is the anti-eco, so you want to go for a more decisive, explosive hit like they did on the A site, and then suddenly your lurk player and the player that got out of dodge on the A site, Isaac, is left standing to try and work the map elsewhere, and you just find you're at the end of a Spectre. And now they get the full buy together. They can go back to what worked the first round, pistol, just with better weapons, which is this B exec. So I'm interested to see how Minnow kind of plays off of it, or if they just give up the site and play retake with the team.
The A setup's interesting as well for the Ravens. They're kind of back to that early info gathering play. They put a lot of utility forward in order to grab some control of main, and once they get that, well, now they can evacuate, retake mid if they wanted to, or maybe even take a further play. That's a paranoia all the way through. A's empty, though, that's the problem.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to be here right as soon as the spike is getting planted, clearing out all of them and making sure there's no lurk players. And Bling Bling Boy is actually the one to take first blood here from that overextension, that loose link in market. So Christian Dior has to pick up the slack.
Star cover, as soon as it goes down, going to be a interesting spot to contend with this crossfire, but nonetheless, the majority of the defense coming back in from Market. Great stun onto Ethic. He's down. Leve will get a frag, and though the crossfire has expired, Christian Dior gets one before falling. This is going to be up to Baby Pooh, who's in some trouble, has support. Mossy from Market has made the full rotate around and still has the flashpoint to work with. This spike, it's taking long and quick. Zartik will get the frag, but this is round over. Well done from Trent Excalibur Green, despite them all falling.
Yeah, the Knight's able to get their first round on the board, and it's gonna be a little bit costly, mind you, since they're only walking away with one of those rifles. But I really like the play to reflank around from Mossy, and it's just, I think, what allowed them to distract Arctic long enough that they couldn't get on the spike. And even Bling Bling Boy's kind of attention was splintered. They really felt like they were lacking a little bit of communication about who could get on the spike fast enough so they could play the timer, and that's ultimately what got the first round for Trent.
Another shout out as well for Mossy, right? Just knowing when not to take that fight. You know, take the first fight, then just fully disengage. You have the flashpoint and everything. Love to see that. Pretty difficult sometimes to make those decisions on the fly. We're gonna slow things down a little bit this round, though. Right, Excalibur Green gonna play a bit more of a defaulty type round. They're looking for B main aggression, for A main aggression, and meanwhile working mid.
Yeah, but this time Carleton Ravens Black also has a response. They only have the Rays exploring deeper into A. The rest of the players now kind of positioned to play off the Trips contact here top mid, expecting that mid aggression to follow through here. But like you mentioned, Trent, slow and steady, trying to force Carleton Ravens Black to take the fights first, and that's exactly what they're happy to do. Utility not enough to stall out Minnow, and they get a pick, they get out to safety.
Follow up as well, that Prowler pushing back any potential for a refrag that could have been coming into Market. It's a push, or more forced to be a push towards A. It's not even full control of that main area. Nothing working out. Nice work from Minnow.
And that's the lurk player gone, so now they have to commit to this A split. I don't know how I feel about them playing separately here, but if Epic can go huge and cut off these loose ends, they might have a site, they might have a plant, but Bling Bling Boy coming up huge, coming up rich, gets one down. Fidel, good for the other half of the puzzle to make sure that this A site is locked for business, and they get a third.
And when you think about the immediate reaction from mid for Carleton, as soon as they get that opening pick, they're there to provide support for Minnow. Anybody who's looking to follow up that initial kill, to trade him out, for example. None of that comes through because of that support. Not that they were even in position to do that, Trent, but the intention behind that play is really what is impressing me thus far for Carleton.
And here looks like a very intentional play about to come through. I mean, they have now both initiators here on the A side to try and follow through, but it seems like the breach, Mossy, is just there for that initial fall line. And then, they the breach on Carleton side is there to rotate out to support that top mid hold. It's a lot of pressure on Minnow, though, here in Market, because they have to deal with the entire force of Trent. Luckily, the showstopper is there to kind of bail them out, to grab these frags, and even get spiked down mid, now forcing the rest of the team to challenge the cavalry that has arrived from tiles, from top mid, and Moss can't deal with it. Is Arctic going to take that frag and take that round for Carleton Ravens Black.
Yeah, and you saw as soon as they took space on one area of the map, and that was towards A main this time, it was immediate, the response from Carleton. As soon as they realized, hey, nobody's here, and we're getting pressure through mid, they collapse immediately, and that's what's so difficult. Even in a round where, yeah, it's an eco for Trent, we're not expecting too much, but even in a round like that, you can see how quick those decisions are being made, and that is so tough to deal with, to contend with, if you are on the offense. I think we need to see something a little more explosive from Trent.
I think that's what they're trying to do here, right? They expect that same A aggression, that A pressure, but again, Carleton Ravens Black pulling out a new play from the playbook every single round. It's something slightly different, and Trent Excalibur Green is never expecting it. This round, obviously, is Arctic's double satchel into tiles, quickly countering the flank. But the answer from Trent is to challenge it. All players here dealing with it accordingly. The next up to bat is going to be Leve's left toe, but they think that's too much for them to bite off, so they're just going to play for this B rotation.
And in that way, this map can really play a lot like Ascent, actually, in how important it is to get that defensive aggression going, to gather some space and information early on. And, well, speaking of space and info, little bit of a double tap there. Minnow was got caught. That's actually massive. Fidel needed to get one, does, but can't find any more.
Yeah, so for the first time, Carleton Ravens Black kind of at a player disadvantage in the situation. A 2v3, luckily both here on the A side, seasoned for the hit, but Booming Boys forced out of the corner, forced to give up their life by the Aftershock, and now it is just Leve's left toe. Can they isolate these fights when all three players are coming out available? The cage might give them the opportunity to do so. And suddenly the double swing has to come through. Be good for the frag. No ultimates having to be expended as Trent Excalibur Green gets their second on the board.
And where did it go wrong for Carleton? That's the question they've got to be asking themselves. And I think the reality is they got all the info and then they got caught. Minnow just couldn't get away, had no opportunity to. And that is where things started to kind of fall by the wayside. Well played, though, from Trent to just make sure, especially when they were in the 3-on-1, just to be double swinging. Don't give them free opportunities. Yeah. Once they found out exactly where that final player was, they're taking the fight together.
I mean, that's also a benefit of that fade. I mean, that sees you can't run from a Raze, you can't run from Minnow here, or the rest of Carleton Ravens Black when they are pushing mid, when they are nightfalling in your face, so now you're deafened and don't know there's A pressure coming at you as well, and suddenly it's Ethic on the receiving end having to pull out a 1v3 clutch. But even then, this terror trail has tracked them down to their death for the team ace.
I'll be honest. I looked away for like half a second, and then they were all dead. They were actually. I looked at my notes for a moment, and they all died. That's brutal for Trent. I guess on the plus side, they do have like an entire boatload of ultimates ready to go. Like whatever plans they can create, they have at their disposal. Issue being, they don't have weaponry behind it. But maybe this is the type of round to throw something wild at the Ravens, because at the moment, nothing that Trent had put together has surprised Carleton.
No, I mean, definitely Carleton Ravens Black are the surprisers. They're throwing the surprise party that is this 5-2 game. Luckily, like you mentioned, they have 5 ultimates, though, to form this surprise, right? I mean, yes, the guns aren't there to back it up, but they have options. The question is, where do they want to use them? Because right now, like you mentioned, it looks like they aren't doing anything new. They're still trying with this mid default. They're still having this Raze Fade combination go mid, and they bring Spike there every time too. So that's why we haven't really seen many plans other than the pistol round come out from Trent Excalibur Green, is because they never get that far.
A little bit of a tentative poke and push out here at mid. They've cleared out the tripwire at least. Of course, that has put Carleton on notice. They know what's going on. Hunt finds nothing either. And none of these information gathering plays that Trent are doing have actually given them much of anything. Yeah, they have mid control, but they're going to have to give that up in order to make this A hit a little bit more viable. To be fair, Arctic is alone in this corner, and there's pistols on the other side.
I mean, this would be a huge gun to get on their side. The Skis gets the early information collection and the frag for P. The more important thing, though, the neural theft comes online to see where these rotations are going to come from, to confirm that the site is good now for the plant. And now, even the Nightfaller, they're not going to get aggressive off of it, though. It's just to secure the plant just to ensure that time does not tick away. But, I mean, 4v4 retake with these guns in Carleton Ravens' possession, this is going to be tough.
Especially with how passive they're playing right here. Gotta get a little bit more far forward, and this is what I'm thinking. Showstopper straight in there will start to buy some time, but it doesn't actually connect, and Minnow, as soon as it goes off, has the knowledge, the information. Hans will give further info, and this is starting to fall apart as you would have expected with the gun disadvantage. P all alone will be dispatched, though I'd say that's some pretty good damage considering what they ran into this round with.
No, I mean, agreed. They didn't even invest all the ultimates either, just really the showstopper. Well, they invest 3 of the 5. They still have a few good ones to work with, mainly the Rolling Thunder there. And I feel like we really needed to see that showstopper go big, right? Because the plan was for Mossy to sit on the Rolling Thunder maybe as a post-plant strategy, right? As one spike gets tapped, then you're rolling them off of it. But you saw them pressuring, specifically Minnow there, into Link, and P wanting to keep the hero rifle really couldn't protect Mossy as much as they wanted to. Now, though, it looks like they're kind of maybe giving up on this mid default a little bit, just leaving the Cypher here, just leaving Ethic to lurk while they go back to what worked on that pistol round, going back to this BXZ. Luckily, there's no trips here in the entrance to the site, so Christian Dior unimpeded for now as they head to back site to try and clear off this initiator utility, and it just looks like Carleton Ravens Black prepared for the retake.
I mean, that was the plan from the beginning. I think clearing out that mid-rotation, though, this is massive, and the Rolling Thunder's actually going to end up hitting, I think, himself. I think They'll walk into his own Rolling Thunder there, but unfortunately, it doesn't seem to matter. 1-2 punch through market. That'll put what was a little bit of a scary round that initially in the bag pretty easy.
Yeah, no. Great change of pace. I mean, Ethic getting the first blood, the follow-up trade of Rolling Thunders there to completely kind of shut down Carleton Ravens Black in their retake attempt. Like you mentioned, it was all going according to plan. They saved the Rolling Thunder. They got the players off site so they could retake with it, and Mossy's like, nah. And I wouldn't call that really Trent surprising Carleton Ravens Black, but it definitely forced out the idea that they did not have a plan B. But once again, doesn't stop the momentum, doesn't stop the action, which is Arctic in this form. But what does stop them is a trip wire that Ethic drops them off of the paranoia from their teammate. The next issue, though, to come across, the double players still lurking in the distance, but those shots aren't hitting just yet, and Leve's left toe is forced to retreat, their tail between their legs. So shift over to the B site where the action's still unfolding.
Oh, nice work. Yeah, off the flash. We get another one. That's 3. This is now, I mean, somewhat winnable for Leve, despite the fact that they're at 45 health. There should be a gun able to be recovered on the back of this site somewhere.
Yeah.
They have a dark cover to work with. This is way more winnable than it should have been. Oh, that's good information, but can't take advantage of it. Leve's gonna walk forward and wait as they come through together. Just missed the headshot. Had him lined up, but can't deliver.
Oh, they were robbed of that situation. I mean, I was nervous when they were about to swing out of that dark cover because, like, the Venn diagram formed with the Cypher cage. We definitely would have put that fade on an island, but they have patience knowing their timings for the defusal, and the swing out is perfect. There. I mean, you gotta feel bad if you're Fidel in that situation. I mean, they lined up every player on that BX that and knocked him down with the deagle of all things, so they definitely made it hurt, but 6-4? This is ending a lot stronger than it started here for Trent Excalibur Green, slowly figuring out that Carleton Ravens Black Chaos has some sense of control to it and avoiding it accordingly.
Yeah, as soon as Trent broke the economy, I think that's where they found some footing. But with the economy back in position for Carleton, this is where I think the rubber meets the road. It's a question mark for me. Without the ultimates to work with, it's been well played for Trent. They've done well with what they had, but now without, are they going to be able to deliver?
I agree. I mean, we're stripped back down, just kind of rifles meeting rifles. And the only change that Carleton Ravens Black has made to adjust for any potential Trent Excalibur Green trickery is they put the Cypher on the A site this time. The only difficulty here now is they're pushing up because they thought this was a B exec off of Mossy's frag, and now you have a body down. Now you have a neural theft to confirm that it's a full rotation over to the B site. And if I was Leve in this Omen and Market, I'd be challenging before the rest of the team gets there, but that paint shell's not going to allow it, and it's going to be a 4v3 retake.
30 seconds left.
I also don't dislike Carleton just waiting a little bit. It does allow this Nightfall, though, to come through. They can get aggressive off the back of this, and oh, Minnow, he's lined him up
for the ace.
That's fantastic. Up for the ace indeed, and P will give it away. Minnow on 5 to give this round to Carleton.
I mean, they literally just went on a world tour. I mean, first pick outside of A main, second pick in mid, and then 2 Bobo, 1 on site. They literally were a one-person show in that regard. And you'd think that the Cypher is the one that kind of stays home on their comfort site and then is kind of left alone on a retake, but no, they're showing up exactly when it matters here to secure a lead now, to escape that 6-6 possibility that Trent Excalibur Green was hoping for in that situation. But more importantly, it starts to right the economy, right? We saw them kind of lingering, having to force out that save round a few back, but they should be set for the rest of the half, set for this last round. Now they're back to their comfort zone, the B site.
Trent, though, in a similar spot, you know, doing okay with regard to the econ. Be able to full buy in here. And I like that Minnow's getting aggressive. They noticed and have seen these last couple of rounds how far forward Trent have played in B main, how much they've just looked for, you know, the early tripwire or just dispatching with the camera, just making life difficult generally for that Cypher, and Minnow's having none of it this round, got that forward position and kind of held back the initial push and is now able to fall back away.
I completely agree. I mean, the Rays, they've been doing a great job on the side of Trent Excalibur Green dealing with that Cypher utility. But for now, they're deciding a change of strategy, trying to surprise Carleton Ravens Black by pushing here into top mid. They gain control, but here comes the cavalry, here comes Arctic and Minnow. And now Spike is down no man's land right outside of the defender spawn. And it's going to be Ethic that has to go on the road to recovery. Maybe some support here from the Fade. But look where the breach is. Look where Fidel's about to get.
That fast rotation. I love this decision making. Fidel made this decision almost instantaneously. Unfortunately, can't connect the shots, but the spike drops once again. You can't allow this to happen. Isolating the duels, and Minnow's done it again. An ace in the last, and a 4-man in this as he clutches up 1v3.
I'm sorry, but you've got to be hurting if you are Christian Dior Schmerkio in that situation. I mean, you get the spike back, you know that Fidel is no longer on the A site, you can safely go through Link to get the plant, but I don't think they realized that they had it. Or sorry, Baby who realized they had it, and that cost them the round, that cost them a 7-5, so now we head into an 8-4, and I mean, you gotta be happy for Carleton Ravens Black with that half.
I mean, you gotta be happy for Minnow with that into the half. What a statement of a couple of rounds, right?
No, I agree.
Especially from, you know, we've seen really individually cracked aimers on, you know, the Cypher role, on the Sentinel role. That happens, but you don't always get to see that star power come to life, and we have right here.
Completely. And now, I mean, what Trent Excalibur Green tried to do time and time again last half was this mid to B push, and it just looks like Carleton Ravens Black is breathing new life into the strategy, not even stopping so far as to stay on the B side. They leave Rays, they leave Arctic alone to plant while they extend into Boba. The only issue is that Minnow's left to deal with the flank alone. No trip because they don't need it. They have a ghost with Mossy and Christian Dior's name on it, and Baby Poo says might as well take the same fight. But now Arctic's in their back pocket too.
Issue? No issue here actually. Minnow will just handle those two. Baby Poo, okay. There's not a ton of time left, but I mean, running through the scar cover is a must. Leve will stop it, but yeah, a risk for sure. Leaving Minnow alone back there doesn't matter. I mean, if there's one person that you would expect to make those connections after what we just saw, it is him, to be fair. Nonetheless, a bit of a frustrating this round, I'd say, for Trent, considering they were in position. They knew what they were doing. In fact, they were trying to evacuate the B site entirely. They didn't even they wanted to play retake, and they couldn't get out.
I mean, that market cascade was just insane. I mean, player after player funneling through, and they didn't even stop there. Assuming they had rotations, they would have been ready to take that fight, Boba. Just like Trent Excalibur Green is ready to take this mid-fight. And instead of, like, running away, like you mentioned, playing for retake, they're completely flipping that on its head here, Vincent. 3 players about to be pushed deeper into B main to try and charge up this Nightfall, to try and play off this utility. But, I mean, look at the counter utility coming through. It's going to be a bloodbath here with these better rifles for Carleton Ravens Black, and every player falling except for Baby Poo, who, again, the free gun, the classic, hits one. They get away safely for now. This is, I'm sorry, but this would be a red flag dark cover.
Yeah,
if
I was gonna say, this should
Carleton.
be so suspicious. Like, yeah, okay. Fidel was looking, was waiting, was on the same page as I was and as you were, but yeah, you just see a random dark cover that isn't covering anything. That should just be alarm
Panic
bells
smoke.
going off in your brain, like wee woo wee woo.
It almost worked if they planted close instead of backside.
Almost, unfortunately, not going to be good enough this time. Up to double digits, though, and it's Carleton who are almost there to that map point. Just 2 rounds away from it. This one a bonus, though. Carleton will have majority strong weapons. I mean, Bulldog, very good. Guardian, the same. Just one Sheriff not upgraded, as I think it was the only player who lost out the last one.
Ooh, but look at the fast rotation from Trent Excalibur Green. I mean, all players, minus that Omen, who's trying to provide cross-map support with the dark cover, are going to be here to challenge, but the Pain Shield preventing Ethic from getting the frag off. And it's actually going to be P. Mossy, you know, with this dual action from Market to cause the damage, to get the site and get the round here together, to keep some forward momentum on their side, to secure a 5th and ensure they keep a good number of rifles in their clutches. I mean, think about last half, Vincent. I believe it was 1 rifle that, you know, was walked away with after that 3rd round of the half from Trent Excalibur Green. So great improvement from that regard, even with Carleton Ravens Black heavier investment.
And that last round is actually a really good example of why it can be so effective to get that early rotate, but not necessarily take the fight on the site initially. Let them get there and think they have a post plant, think they can get the spike down, and as they're planting, you just collapse back. I have no idea what this is. The conga line?
Yeah, I mean, why not? Luckily, the Haunt isn't going to see anything, so this allows explosion in the tiles here, and every player, you know, they thought they had the jump on him as Trent Excalibur Green, but Carleton Ravens Black is like, we're here to meet you toe for toe. And now the last remaining players are so divided. Mossy just throw their life away, look for the hero play off the flashpoint, but this dark cover proving troublesome, and they can't even get one because Minnow, the defender, is there to make sure none of the teammates fall. So Ethic, you have to serve up a Cypher diff here. They want any semblance of hope, and I mean, look who's taking it in stride. Arctic with the rest of the team to support them for the flawless.
What a counter. I don't even know how Carleton, I don't even think they made the read. I just think they had the read. They immediately stacked up towards A main. For what purpose exactly? I don't really know. They weren't even at the barrier, so they weren't ready to take an aggressive fight. But then they had the counter clear for tiles. And there was 3 there. What an incredible, I just don't know. And it was off of 1 fault line. 1 fault line got both of those kills.
But look, I mean, Trent Excalibur Green's gonna have a party of their own here on the B site. And I feel like Baby Boo was about to say, you were in for a wide awakening here with this showstopper in your face. Luckily, the fault line finds a very similar, you know, benefit this time for Trent Excalibur Green, allowing these eco weapons to get the damage done, allowing for now a semblance of control over the B site thanks to Market Door getting closed. But Carleton Ravens Black don't look like they're too frazzled just yet, even after losing their duelist, even after losing that flash initiator.
The bad news is they don't even know that the A site's wide open. They only saw 2, maybe 3 players total. So that's why they're not making that aggressive play. Trent sticking together. It worked for them early.
Conga line after conga line.
No reason to run away from it now, but this is going to cut the rotations off. Minnow, turn, my friend. You've got them all coming around the corner. Bling Bling Boy and Leve have done the damage. Oh my goodness.
I mean, in that case, like Minnow was just, you know, the pawn, the bait there, so that the rest could swing out thinking, oh, it's a lonely lurking Cypher. No, it's the rest of the team now trying to vie for this clutch. Nightfall missing the action though, missing P, who again pulls out the clutch for the team. Make sure that that round that started so strong didn't end in utter chaos beyond a loss.
Really think they can
I have to ask the question here, and
Oh no.
listen, it's gonna sound a little toxic, but what was that Omen doing? What was Leve doing? Where was the gun? Why wasn't it out?
You know, both Omens have had their, you know, there's like mess ups, I would say, on the attack half. I mean, Baby Poo taking the spike in almost to defender spawn, Leve not taking their gun
Not where you
out.
plant. That's not where you're supposed to plant it. I've been playing the game
I know,
wrong.
right? So we'll just forget that for now. But I mean, Trent, right? They feel like they found a strategy that worked, but they didn't like they gave up all the A side control. So instead, we're gonna have 4 players here B side, 1 on that Cypher lurking A, and it looks like this time Carleton Ravens Black realizing that Trent played together on the B side and had that mass rotation, so they want to challenge it in stride. But P again, the master of this fade kit, grabbing frags without jeopardizing themselves.
And is Arctic sticking around for a little bit too long there? I mean, there was a literal boatload of utility being tossed there by Trent, and instead of instantly rotating off it, I think trying to go for that orb is probably not the right strategy given the moment. An error that
My camera is
has
destroyed.
put Carleton down by 1 in this round, and as they adjust back over, it's 3 players strong towards A, but notice rotation. The defense are headed that direction too.
Yeah. I mean, not even much information gathered there by the From the Shadows. So, flying with a blind eye on how they want to redistribute this defensive lineup. And, I mean, if I was trying, I'd be splitting up this Nightfall and this
30
Rolling Thunder so you can
seconds
counter a plant no matter which site they go to. But they seem to want to double load towards the B site. They probably hear all this pressure coming in B main. I mean, there's literally no light-footedness coming out from Carleton Ravens Black, and they don't check P, they don't check the core. But the trigger discipline almost cost P, the frag, still costing them their life here. Time not on the side, but they're in no position to deny. So they back out, they reassess, they put in the Rolling Thunder, and now that Minnow's dealt with, the last 2 are stunned. Leve, last to fall from the backstab out of Ethic. So they still keep Carleton Ravens Black off of this map.
Big fan of a whole. The way that Trent has approached their retakes towards B has been really good. And another key to that is very different every time. Not, you know, adjusting little bits and pieces here, the timing on when they're ready to go back in and getting that initial extra step on the early rotate. All of those little adjustments have not gone unnoticed and I think have helped to stabilize things to a certain degree for Trent. Now, granted, this is still a bit of a terrifying round or 2 upcoming because Carleton just 1 round away from that point, but we'll stick it together this time. Carleton have gotten a bit too fancy at moments in this game. They're just going to keep it simple. Straight up walk out over towards B, get control, and then get the plant down.
I mean, if this game has been anything but simple, Vincent, that just probably will shatter the thought of it. An early frag there. The duelist now gone for Carleton Ravens Black, and it doesn't stop any of the momentum here on taking this A site. Luckily, Christian Dior, as insult to injury, taking out the star player right now, Minnow.
planted.
But 3v5 now that they have to hold on when there's a Nightfall and a showstopper to work with for Trent Excalibur Green. So you see these players trying to be the hero, trying to get these multi-frags, but no, they're just serving up frag after frag in these solo fights.
What was the point of that? Why you need that gun, Fidel? Why'd you need it? Tell me. Explain, please. Oh, I mean, it wasn't going to make the difference, to be fair, but the problem, I think, for the Carleton, it's certainly fair to kind of point out as well that, you know, those big multi-frag clutch moments certainly bailed out Carleton a bit. It was really significant towards the back end of the half, but we haven't seen any of that really in the second. I mean, they overwhelmed in the pistol round, had a really good strategy, as was the case in the first gun round after the bonus, but since then, Carleton have looked a bit of a shadow of their former selves. bit more of a slower start and approach initially for the defense of Trent, but that quickly fades away. This is a B main control. Grab the orb and they'll get out.
I mean, they've had ult after ult on board for these retakes too, which has definitely helped them stay ahead on this road to recovery. But I agree, Carleton Ravens Black being this reserved is an interesting look for them, especially on an eco round. They're just once again leaning into these players that they know can get frags, but Zartic not able to get one on the board just yet for the team, even with Fate in their back pocket. But there it is, Zartic delivering the blow onto Baby Poo here. But even then, I mean, look at the response from Trent Excalibur Green, the rotations to replace that player, to make sure that gun can't be collected.
I like the regroup. Solid. Mossy gonna spot it out, knows now that there is incoming players, gonna get hit with the paranoia.
30 seconds left.
Able to isolate duels, will be doing so eventually. As Arctic Ball's flashpoint is good. Nightfall comes back in, it's the other direction. He's still alive, gets saved, I think, by the Prowler. But the showstopper should shut down Bling Bling Boy, and does. 5 HP for Minnow in even fewer seconds.
One enemy remaining.
At least the paint shell doesn't kill them. That would have been an insult, I feel like, to them. But they're still not giving up, even as the timer is expiring, trying to hunt down P, who knows that the time is on their side, and probably getting the calm that they're 5 HP, confident enough to take that fight. But it cost Trent Excalibur Green everything. Both of those powerful retake ultimates expended on Carleton Ravens Black save.
Yes, at the same time, hey, we're getting very close to the end of this thing, and getting close to a tied-up scoreline for Trent. It's not as if, I mean, Carleton has some ultimates to work with. The big ticket item, of course, is that Rolling Thunder, but it's not like they have everything coming into this round.
We'll have to see if this aggression is the answer, if they can get some early frags on, you know, a duelist overstepping. But I feel like we could also see a Rolling Thunder as soon as they have a hint of this pressure, this isolation here. No, it's the fault line instead, paired with the Aftershock for P to try and both destroy Cypher utility and maybe pressure them to leave. And now, I mean, this is the first time we're also seeing the Baby Poo operator.
That's true. Have we even seen it up outside of Baby Poo's hands? I don't think we've seen any ops. Until now, that's a bit crazy considering how deep we are. Baby Poo not quite quick enough this time.
That means, once again, they know that these players are here, but I like this aggression too through market. They're trying to deal with the fact that Trent Excalibur likes these flood retakes, but they can't deal with Leve just yet. And the 3v3 now, HP favoring Trent Excalibur Green, information collection as well, now allowing them to try and isolate the fight against Fidel, but there it is, the Shrouded Step. The shots are too clean from Christian Dior, though. And sprinkle a little operator action to continue Trent Excalibur Green's dominance on this recovery.
That's a rare moment where the timing and utilization of the Neural Theft was so incredibly valuable. Like, you know, there's been the meme forever. It's like the most useless ultimate in the game. Not quite that anymore, but the information towards the market was perfectly timed. Love to see that from Ethic, just getting all of the value out of it this time around. And it's double digits for Trent. They're not giving this up without a fight. This is their map pick for a reason. And they're sticking with it as well. That operator, now, sure, Carleton will be on notice, but getting value, even if it missed the first shot.
Yeah, and they've changed the position of it too. Kind of expecting maybe this mid to market pressure or, you know, a tiles presence. And I don't think they're going to expect it here, to be honest. I mean, we'll get an early kind of indication of that either from, you know, our Arctic here. But even then, at least the Prowler, the coverage, the fault line, and the paranoia all landing to keep them out of commission and out of this round. The follow-up is the showstopper, and Mossy just holding on for dear life as even more utility is dumped onto this side. The cover is the flick, though. Now it's Ethic having to recover this round, pull it out of the drain with that 2K to make this at least only a one-player deficit, as Spike now is planted on the B site.
Stakes are high, and they've got to stick together. Dude, Trent are going to do so. Both from the same angle. Just got to clear these crossfires, or what could be crossfires, out one by one. But everybody's fallen back. Carleton, they're not interested in overextending. In fact, they're going to do a late rotate back through market. We'll see how much that is going to come to fruition since the spike not planted for it. Oh, massive haunt. That's going to give them the information. Arctic waiting for them as they follow through. And Leve will shut them down. That's 12 for Carleton. It's taken a moment, but they're there.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the fact that Trent was able to shut down the eco and the buy following that timeout was huge. And it probably gave them the confidence they needed to try and now push these last 2 rounds towards overtime. And they've even been able to build back up these ultimates that were expended on that save, like the Rolling Thunder. And, I mean, I could even see P going huge to get, you know, the Nightfall online in the next round or two. Same with the Showstopper. So we just need to see them not get surprised by Carleton Ravens Black like they were last round. I mean, you saw it. Baby Poo on the off foot. Now back top mid, still sporting the operator, though. And Star Cover just making sure they can't find much.
Did get hit with all of the utility last time out, you know? So we'll give them a little bit of a break there.
Are they gonna do it again?
Maybe. It's looking like it. Set up for
my gosh.
Salt Line, potentially in that direction.
Oh?
I like this. Well, okay, this is not what I expected. Just looking for information. Only saw one there. Now I'm gonna get run down. Blinded, can't get the teleport. Oh, just around the corner. Oh, so close. As his Arctic's gonna shut him down once again. Christian Dior looks the wrong way, and this Raze is taking names and taking no prisoners.
I mean, I'm just trying to piece apart what just happened. I mean, a false read, a Rolling Thunder in a market where nobody is, and the immediate reaction from Carleton Ravens Black expecting the flood is to pivot to A and get the frags that they need. So P is left in a 1v4, map point on the line, and Arctic, like we mentioned, taking names, taking map 1 away from Trent. Sunset.
So, a bit of a struggle for the offensive side of Carleton. You know, they struggled a little bit to get the close on Sunset. I'm curious if that's going to continue to be something that we noticed. Traditionally, you do like to play the attack side on this map generally, so it's pretty good for them regardless, even though they didn't get to make the decision.
Yeah, but we also should point out that they're running a double duelist composition. We have Baby Poo kind of leaning now into that duelist role since Ariane stepped in as the Omen, as that primary controller. But as you mentioned, already into the chaos, Bling Bling Boy on the lurk, while the exec comes through onto an uninhabited C site. Is Ethic and Ariane are gonna have to play retake here, but again, why do they leave one player on site while the rest push into CT? Why are they that confident that there's not going to be a flood at a waterfall? I don't know, but they're still correcting the situation. And no utility dry swings coming out of Link here, leaving Ariane in the 1v2. And they might just get the Omen tip. I mean, HP not in their favor.
If he's already made all the way forward, though. And that's not the TP you were looking to find in the Leve's crosshair. And you asked the question, a valid one, but why play so aggressive? And for a team that's used to dealing with that aggression, yeah, maybe the waterfall out of waterfall is the right play, and you know how to do that immediately. But a team not expecting that, it's so difficult to make that call.
No, completely agree. And it obviously kind of was a surprise to the Knights as well. They weren't anticipating it. A good try and attempt to have those 3 people contest, but for now it looks like they just want to run it back. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. While Trent Excalibur Green also kind of employing this A main aggression, thinking if they gamble stack they might have a chance, but for now, no real utility kind of season towards A main, so they're gonna flank all the way around and give up this C site. Once again, Ethic showing restraint, not being an anchoring sentinel here, just to kind of enable more bodies to be here for this post plant.
Minno's gonna have a couple to deal with here in a moment, but keep an eye out for the way that Trent are gonna play that root position, how aggressive they're going to be. Obviously, this isn't a round that you can really make any assumptions based off of, but I'm curious how they're going to play. They had 3 there early this round just to try and get that forward position, but nice work. At least a couple of kills out of that. I'd say that Trent were not looking likely to find even that, so to pick it up towards the end of the round is a pretty serious boon to what they had expected.
Yeah, I mean, close range Guardian shots, not always the easiest to exec on, but I do like how Minnow was the one watching the flank in that situation. I mean, they didn't really see the benefits of a lurk, and they only had the ghost, so they weren't going to be giving away a gun upgrade anytime soon. But Vincent, I need to point out the elephant in the room.
Okay.
Baby Poo and the operator. You asked for it again after we saw them on Sunset as the Omen, but now it's in the right agent's hand. Albeit a glass cannon, but it's there. Push it up on the A site to hopefully now free up the Rays and the Breach to rotate more freely. But, I mean, Carleton Ravens Black, falsifying information, gathering orbs, and I really need to see Baby Poo get back to the stairs position before the A exec comes through.
The propaganda has had some incredible effects. This is 3 players, leaning towards C, in link and waterfall, same difference. And this toxic screen going up, the dark cover going out, that's going to call for the rotations to come back. But right now, they're about to be locked out. So Arctic just needs to go around this corner and have pretty much everything, but still, the way to go. P can't get first connected and basically catches a satchel. Will be dead to Bling Bling Boy, but it's all gone wrong. It's all gone wrong in every aspect for everyone.
Oh, and the head shot was lined up for Baby Poo, but Bling Bling Boy faster on the draw, so that no longer a threat, and they want to get aggressive. They know when they are up chips, they can gamble, and it looks like they're going to hit the lottery. Arctic specifically finding area and leaving Ethic now in a 1v5, and it looks like we're about to see the anti-eco from Carleton Ravens Black, and there it is.
Really taking that force by, or rather the bonus round, and taking it all the way. Carleton made it look so simple. And here's the thing, and I think this is a question that I would ask you, right? Trent, did they over-rotate there? They were reacting off of not a ton of information, just some audio cues, no real confirmation. They overdo it.
I don't think so, because there were still 2 players there while they were trying to contest that A main choke point, right? I mean, the Breach, obviously, you might want another player there to contest with the fault line, but otherwise, I think it's just the fact that there was 4 players there treating. Maybe you expect 2, and even then, if the Jet had hit the shot there stairs, and they had great players in the right situations, but sometimes an FPS is gonna FPS and you lose the gun duel, but first time, looks like they're headed towards the B side, so Arion's the one with the deagle to get trial by fire, trial by showstopper, and it's actually Bling Bling Boy to deliver the final blow to open up the site now, unless these players flooding in from Link have anything to say about it. The Blades won't because of Leve, because they're literally breaking their neck 180 after 180 to deliver the 3K that then can get cleaned up by the rest of the team.
Breaking my neck, more like breaking their wrist. Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness.
The turns, that was incredible.
What sense are they at?
I know, that's what I want to know. What DPI is that? Because I certainly can't hit that. What I do know is that Trent allowed it to a certain extent. Some whiffed shots would have liked to have seen connect. It bails Carleton out of a tough situation. We just won't talk about that show stuff.
No. Oh, I mean, yeah, we just don't talk about it. But again, great job denying that early A pressure, but looks like Carleton Ravens Black, not scared away, still wants to aggress here alongside the toxic screen. I like the high-low, but Christian Dior still good for 1. But look at the follow-up. Again, just the kill feed littered with red here as trades come out in the Ravens' favor. And the last 2 players are divided again.
Like you mentioned, good trades, and even better now is there's no trade frag available for Carleton to work with. Ooh, I hold it from the shadows. That's massive info. I think they spotted both of them. At least
I
one.
didn't see the glowing eyes.
I don't know. Regardless, this lockdown.
Oh?
Is that
hit it?
Yeah, I don't know, actually. Certainly trying. Doesn't seem to be working. This is delaying things massively.
I mean, I think from the shadows for a Killjoy Ultimate's pretty good trade in Trent Excalibur Green's favor here, but I mean, they're just saving, it looks like, on the side of the Knights in this situation. I mean, you see the Killjoy turn and spawn, and KJ going back to their sanctuary at the C site. I mean, you might see the Omen, you might see Arion playing for some exit frags out of tree off this paranoia. That's exactly what they're gonna do, and that's exactly what they're gonna get for one, and the spike will finish them off. So, albeit it's another round in Carleton Raven Black's favor, but a costly one.
So, yeah, but they've won 5 in a row. They don't care. They got money for days. Carleton's like, yeah, cool, whatever, dude. You can have those guns because we still have money and there's a big fat goose egg up on the scoreboard.
Yeah, 5 rounds, definitely nothing to scoff at. But even on Sunset, it was a little bit slower of a start for Trent Excalibur Green. Not this extreme per se, but I mean, now that they're getting some ultimates, now that they're back to a bye, I can see the Showstopper causing some damage, and looks like Babypoo's actually the one looking to deliver some damage here with this Guardian, this aggression, already destroying the Killjoy utility, already being a thorn in Carleton Raven's Black early round kind of goals.
It was actually the ultimates, and when they had that big stack that Trent started to really find footing.
I mean, yeah, but just having to skip and scap away is Babypoo. Now this utility suddenly coming into a B exec, and this is that split-second decision making, these changes that we saw from Carleton on Sunset.
I like this lurk for Minnow. This is, this might
He
catch
see
somebody
them?
off. I think Minnow did spot one out. Certainly they know now. They're getting audio cues as well from Nightfall's gonna come through. It's gonna give a little bit of information. Should have known nobody was there based on the Nightfall, but all's well that ends
early.
well.
I mean, that Showstopper though from Christian Dior so early. So now they're forced to kind of Hail Mary into the stack here outside of A main. And their spawns now is Rolling Thunder. I mean, once again, all in ultimates having to be invested to force the hand, force them into Babypoo, who with the Guardian is actually dealing some deliverable blows. And just like that, if you can divide the Carleton players, you can knock them down to secure the first round in the Knights' favor.
Look at how it was so disjointed for Carleton. That's where they've been really strong, you know, playing together. Trade frags, as much as we've been talking a bit about them, have been a strength for the Ravens, but that was where it broke down in the last round. They just ended up taking fights where, number one, they couldn't get a trade, and then when they had that opportunity, it was great work from Trent, taking double swings, fighting together, and ensuring that when somebody could take a fight, they were never alone.
And it does look like that round might have shaken Carleton Ravens Black a little bit here. I mean, sending a few extra players here to explore towards B main to make sure they can't have that Babypoo pressure at the get-go like last round, versus this kind of trio again hanging out towards the A site, happy to rotate through link, happy to give a space as needed. And so they're just trying to, they're still on the B fake so that they can push in through link and try to blind kind of the eyes of this C exec, but I mean, how much does it cost? 3 players?
Everything.
I don't know if it's worth it.
They've given away everything at this point. Had to get some of those kills, and I like this call, actually, for Carleton. The fake? Listen, you lost all the fakers. They're all dead. So, at this point, stick together. Play this as if it's, you know, a 2v5, which it is, and just play right next to each other, shoulder by shoulder.
Race.
Maybe they could get a plant. In fact, they will get a plant over at A.
Yeah, I mean, I like the two-legged race kind of strategy in that regard. I mean, you don't want to have a trade in this situation, right? Because then you're left in a 1v3 or 1v4 if you are the last man standing on the Ravens side. But now that the plan has been delivered, this is where the real challenge begins. 4v2 with a lot of utility on Trent Excalibur Green's side, and I mean, they can get the timing, the bait off of one of these players. This is great, but otherwise, they're playing on opposite sides of the A site, and that's the result.
Yeah, I mean, the idea was there. You saw it from Carleton, right? The idea was initially take a fight, they swing for that fight, then you come out of the dark cover and take it together. I was on board.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you know, the execution could have used a little bit of work. Well played, though, from Trent.
Fine-tuning.
Finally winning all their individual duels, and that's what that was. Nothing fancy, just winning their fights.
I mean, it's an FPS at the end of the day. But that does mean that a second round is on the board for Trent Excalibur Green. Once again, like we said, It's like Carleton Ravens Black get to the precipice of breaking that lead mark or that time mark of the half, and they struggle to get the extra points on the board, just like they struggled to close out the first map. So this is when Trent Excalibur Green starts making up lost ground, and it looks like it's a lot of just Alpha Baby Poo's fragging. And I mean, whatever gets the job done, but this time it looks like they realize how easy the C-site take has been, and they just want to replicate it.
Yeah, imagine if instead of faking 3B, they had just faked 1B and gone towards C last round. That's a post plant that Carleton would have enjoyed. Prowler gonna catch Leon right in that one. Again, nobody on this. When you shrouded step from one to another, feels bad,
Poor
man.
Leve.
Those nano swarms, they hurt, as Leve found out pretty quickly. Again, retake towards C. So they'll set back up with a Viper's Pit on site.
Ooh, I do like that. I also like how kind of prepared Ethic is for this over-aggression that normally comes from the Ravens into CT, but it also is delaying now this retake, which, like you mentioned, Pit is going to make it even harder. Bling Bling Boy at the receiving end, though, of a lot of utility, a lot of spray down. Not going to fly in that corner here, is what they are saying. So numbers dwindling, but quickly evened out by Ethic on an island, and now you're in Minno's world temporarily as the Pit now falls. A 2v2 unfolding where the blades are not enough. And P, even if they got the frag, the paint shells in their face and time will not be on their side. So 6-2 now. The Ravens securing at least a tied half.
A good recovery. I think that Carleton correctly identified where they could take advantage of Trent's setup, and they did exactly what they needed to, especially when you added the additional layer of the Viper's Pit towards the end of that round, you know, making life so much more difficult for the retake. That, hey, I mean, they had a bunch of players ready for the retake. It was 4-on-5, if I'm not mistaken. So
yeah, it was
solid enough, but with the
we even
Viper's
had,
Pit
like,
in place, it's just so difficult.
they even had like the double pronged pressure, right, with that two duelist kind of rotation through B main through the door. But I mean, just not enough time left after setting up that play. So I want to see some earlier calls, some early rotations, like that kind of faster decision making we see the Ravens do. But overall, the plans are there. It's just, again, fine tuning timing, just like P. Oh, what is this timing?
Gotten away with one. Honestly, lucky to live walking through that smoke, if I'm being real. Zarting catches a timing. Showstopper is up. Christian Doors having none of that. One down and one more to go. Bling Bling Boy gonna get the isolated duel, but can't connect the shots. HP was low, 5 to be precise for Aryan, but doesn't connect. I saw the stars aligning, to be fair.
No, I see a world where Bling Bling Boy definitely wins that round. But I mean, Arctic, we need to teach you when to use your showstopper.
Has Arctic been able to actually shoot off that showstopper once this time?
No comment.
Okay.
I want to lean towards no. I mean, at least the two in my memory are a no. But maybe there's one more lurking that we don't realize because of how much they've been collecting these orbs. And I mean, now they're reset to an eco. They can probably use the Nightfall to try and secure a site, but I also like this adjustment from the Knights. Christian Dior tried to play a little bit more aggro, probably, you know, getting an air of confidence from that multi-frag last round on stairs, but that dark cover, a little bit misplaced, gonna punish them so they can't aggress as deep as they want.
Right here, I think doing a pretty good job of not getting overzealous in this type of round where they could be aggressive knowing that they're on eco, or at least some semblance of it. And the respect they're showing at the moment, I think, makes a lot of sense considering the domination we saw out from the first 5 rounds in a row.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's very similar to the eco approaches on Sunset. They wait for these solo players to get their opportunity to try and get these frags, but as he demonstrates, better weapons are king, can help a solo player hold down sites in these eco situations, but I mean, they're about to get kind of
30
funneled
seconds
by a
left.
few players, and the Prowler bites, and so does the Deagle. So now a weapon in their hands for a 4v4, and Arion getting lucky there with the Shrouded Step to stay alive for this retake attempt.
They're from the shadows. This is just to get a flank on, not really about gathering information or anything of the sort. Lockdown, well, that's going to make life difficult. The paranoia is right on point. Fidel still gets away with a shot lingering around the Rosie and gets another one before falling. His Arctic, just barely not around the corner in time.
Just stick it.
Yeah.
I mean, no utility, no satchel, paint shell to throw it off, and I mean, they have a Guardian, so they might as well throw themselves on the heap to damage
they
the
had
economy.
no idea.
Yeah, that's true.
Check. Charges.
And
Check. Brakes.
I mean, I think the tree fight there was really the outcome of that round determined. I mean, you switch from Arion to Baby Poo to Arctic, and it was just insane trades and a really well played round from both sides. That lockdown from Ethic really being the final nail in the coffin to get the round on the board. I mean, you don't need kills for impact sometimes, as they pull ahead on the 4 again. Very familiar territory as Sunset, where they're fighting now to tie things up before the end of the half.
Three-player aggression as well towards A initially, where they'll toss out the early utility. None of that really finding any purchase, though. It's not this time through. Notice how quiet, how slow Carleton are about this take. This just a delayed take towards A. Only one player out towards the C site to hold some of these rotations. Once they gather this control, they've got full look towards the A side of the map. That's when things will change.
Exactly.
Bring them down.
But Baby Poo and Raze here, ready to contest, ready to deny. But I'm about to say, yeah, don't rotate there, Baby Poo. You know exactly where this spike is about to head. And, I mean, they also have the Breach here link, which I really like, because they can provide that util support needed for these duelists to take these initial exchanges. But,
There.
I mean, this is the benefit of that Viper. This toxic screen does so much for allowing them to inch up undetected until they pop, like now.
30 seconds left.
The Prowler's going to give it away. D, position known. Fidel overwhelms and an adjustment back towards B. But Arion is having none of it. It's 2 dead immediately. Spike dropped but regathered as Epic rotates back from C. Falls as well. Christian Dior,
Spike
last one standing. The 1v3 has taken the first, and it's a pure crossfire. Zarstic on one side. That Satchel not going to find anything else with Lave on the other. It's a quick shot to the head and a 7th round for Carleton.
I mean, we're the all-seeing eyes here, obviously, on the broadcast, but if I was Christian Dior, I might have just taken the gamble and popped the showstopper on that corner. I mean, you'd expect some sort of crossfire to be established. I mean, what's the point of that Satchel otherwise, right? Other than to gain a forward position in that situation. But, as you mentioned, history repeating itself. Carleton Ravens Black looking like they're headed back towards another 8-4 half in their favor. I mean, luckily, some Vandals kind of afforded on the side of Excalibur green, but that Stinger, that Deagle are gonna cost them.
Baby Poo couldn't really find a way to get involved in that last round, and it was because, as you mentioned, the toxic screen and how difficult it makes life. And the Stinger, I think it's a better decision to stick close by to the forward position. And Carleton, back to what worked before. It's a very similar setup.
Yeah, I mean, these slow A pushes, they pull people, they pull utility, but won't pull Ethic off the site. But what's interesting here is I'm guessing Minnow had a comm saying, you know, they are 5 HP, so if you re-hit, they're not going to expect this because I'm the lurk player. But Ethic, they usually play so deep, like in Waterfall or deep into CT to play retake with their team. This time they're like 5 HP, I'm not going to be much use on a retake. I can take one down here with me, perhaps braving the lockdown. There's the one that I mentioned. Keep going, why don't you?
Oh my goodness, that's so hard to hit. Well played. Flame will eventually get the shot. Christian Dior will end up falling to a paint shell, but not before the showstopper goes off. 2 left alive. stunned for an eternity is his Arctic, and will eventually go down to the Nano Swarms. It's Aryan who does confirm a 5-7 half. Trent not back to the 4, but up to 5.
Yeah, I think that really comes out of, you know, Arya specifically able to get some of those frags on the rotation on the dip into the B site, because they didn't like how confident Ethic was being there on the C hold, and the lockdown instead used as a fake attempt. But I mean, I had this thought in the back of my mind, Vincent, and I'm sure it's going to be proved here before the end of the game, but I feel like the defense could be Carleton Ravens Black stronger half. Like we mentioned, this aggression, this kind of selective pressure, if you don't know how to deal with it, it's going to be really difficult. And again, Ethic's going to be at the receiving end of it right out the gate. Look, Mound and Pillar, 2-3 split. What can they do? That's what.
Oh, nicely done. At least going to get that first frag. Traded, of course. It was suffocating previously. The A side open for Trent and for Business. They'll get a plant down momentarily. It's all of the remaining Carleton Ravens heading up from root and in towards A. Flank set. As they do have Heaven control at the moment. Trent is in good position to deal with this as the door opens. We'll have to wait a moment with the paint shells, and here we go. Forcing the fight. Shindior push back one. It's Leve from the other side with Fidel providing support. Finally getting cut to ribbons are Trent and 1 HP. Not going to be enough. Carleton, they have won all the pistols, haven't they?
Sounds about right. And I feel like that was a really strong recovery, especially off of Fidel in that round, because you saw it. Leve and Arctic just missing the timing to try and crunch the tree players. So Leve was kind of on the island, exposed. And Trent Excalibur Green took advantage of that to try and flip numbers in their favor, and it just ultimately wasn't enough, because then you get the Fidel Arctic combo to deliver the final blows to get that pistol on the board, and even now potentially force out the Stinger squad for the Knights.
Potentially. I mean, how do you feel about the Stinger force by it?
The gamble. I think right now, because the Stinger is still broken, I like it, especially them taking it onto the B site, but you have to play it together. You have to be good for these trades. So I'm glad the KJ joins up.
What?
They didn't swing out. That's just blind.
Last player standing.
Absurd. I mean, fortunately, Minnows got one with the snake bite, and they all collapsed. They didn't even get a spike down? How? That's brutal. Where was the spike plant? That's the whole point.
Tunnel vision.
Oh.
Unfortunate. I mean, they probably were like, we're winning the duels in B Link, C Link, and we can get the guns and go to another site and ensure the post plant doesn't fall apart. But then, now you're robbed of everything. It's an even deeper gamble, where 9-5, you're forced to deagles, not even the weapons, and I mean, you have 2 Vandals, a Guardian, and a Bulldog on the side of Carleton Ravens Black, and I think even Minnow collects the Stinger, like...
That was a yikes. Big yikes for me. Just tough round to stomach, really, for Trent. I think I'm on the same page as you. Big risk to go for that buy, but then you really need to understand the win conditions, and that's get the spike down and play the post plant. Like, yeah, get a forward position, but you got to be able to get the spike there if you're doing that. Regardless, so much space still. Carleton out here towards A with Arctic chilling. Ooh, okay, gotta hit the shots. A little lackluster on that front. He will dispatch with his Arctic, and maybe there's something to be had here.
I mean, still though, 2v4, like you mentioned, at least some rifles at their feet. Again, this is the kind of doom that Trent Excalibur Green falls into. They play too divided, and the timing is just never right. So I'm glad to finally see the Rays joining up here with Arion, but leading the charge with the Deagle. It's gonna be rough to get on the site, especially, I mean, it's just literally a buddy system in spawn for the Ravens here, not flying the nest without each other.
And why wouldn't they just just hang out together. There's
Yeah,
no
tap,
reason.
they flood.
10 seconds
Yeah,
left.
look, here it is.
Get overzealous.
Bring them down.
Spike plant, sure.
Spike
Who
planted.
cares? It's not gonna be the difference between the buy and already on a buy.
There.
Open to the next round. How many can they get away with? Trent.
One enemy remaining.
Answer is
timing.
none. Ariane. Christian Dior will pick up a single frag with that sheriff.
Teşekkürler.
But it's double digits. The cost of that force buy
Button.
pretty
Safe,
darn
safe.
high.
Easy.
But at this point, Vincent, they need more than just economic impact. They need rounds. And I mean, we saw Carleton Ravens take a timeout when they were in a slump like this. I feel like that's what we need to see from the Knights at this point. I feel like this is the perfect time for it, or even last round might have been the perfect time for it, where they could discuss how to frame the save and then the rifle follow-up. Because I feel like after this, it's too late, right? I mean, you lose
Yeah.
this round, they're one off from that point, and you're reset into a save. So I guess you could play for OT at that point, but that's 7 rounds in a row. And
And that sucks.
what is this momentum change?
I mean, I like the idea from Trent. It just doesn't work out. Levy has the connection. It's all of the utility in the Nightfall as well. Into the corner in Roots. It's Ethic alone. And this is one of those situations, Obi, where you have to respect Trent's ambitions, but they were seeing too large.
I mean, if you think about it, though, they shouldn't have been expecting anything else. Like, yes, Trent Excalibur Green was taking A main space round after round on their defense, but I want to say that's the first time the Ravens invested that deep into the Rubble control. And it just, again, the reads are insane from the IGL on the Ravens squad. I mean, attack, defense, you name it, they are delivering. And it's what's now allowed them to be, I want to say, up 11-5.
Yeah, I think that realistically,
Suss them out.
Carleton, that is potentially the finishing blow, or about to be the finishing blow. I mean, just getting smashed to pieces like that really hurts your confidence. You can see how confident Carleton are out the back of that. You know, just 2 players taking fights, taking swings out at B. Sure, they don't get the swing they want, so they fall back, but they're still hanging out.
Already.
But again, it feels like this is just all systems go for Carleton Ravens at this point. They're not afraid to take these fights early. They're not afraid to throw people's lives away if it gets them a frag. And Bling Bling Boy,
Oh my.
no exception. Ring around the rosy, good for a 2. They line up like bowling pins to knock down. Luckily, Baby Poo sends him a gutter ball. And yeah, at least he'll get the site for now.
I mean,
Unless.
will they though? Will they
Will
really?
they? I guess, yeah, wait.
Looking
looks
less
diff.
likely. Okay, I think nicely done. They still have its Arctic to contend with, and the spike is elsewhere. Oh no. This is turned very bad very fast for Carleton. Couple of missed shots and one big victory for Ethic. We're in a 2-on-2.
We are. And this is where, again, this 2vx clutch situation is tested by Trent Excalibur Green. And this time they're trying to take a fight together. They're trying to cut off the head of the snake, but this gives Fidel a chance. I mean, pros don't fake, perhaps. I mean, they're waiting on the door. It's halved. They have utility to work with as well to try and disable these members. Every piece of utility going in. First frag achieved. The second... No
They got it.
exception.
Got to be kidding me.
And that's my point.
Yeah, and I think Fidel, there was a world if they had
Nothing
made that decision quicker when they realized there was 2 players just running the final man down. Could have just stuck it out, actually. I'm pretty sure there was time, but didn't realize that Fidel was dealing with 2 fast enough. Regardless, victory is there, and well played it was. Trent, I hate to be that guy, but I think this game might be over.
All right. Let's see why it might not just be over yet. I mean, yes, I agree with you. The weapons aren't the darnest. I mean, they got some Vandals, though. They've got the ultimates in their favor, and they're at least going for a decisive side hit towards a deserted island, right? No players here, only a solo alarm bot that they frame the timing off of, and I think they now realize that all this util was for naught.
It hurts. It's so painful. And listen, this is
Five
not.
on the flank.
This is not Trent's fault. Like,
Ariana,
how are
don't
they
do it.
supposed to know?
Ariana, don't do it. Epic, don't do it. You don't want to do it. I told you don't want to do it.
Not worth it.
No. I mean, I think Baby Poo realizes in this suddenly an reverse gear situation.
Guys, run.
Hold your teammate at this point, Arctic. We know you can't hit these ropes.
One enemy remaining.
Oh, you got one. The final round, and it's the showstopper delivered. We've been looking for it the entire game. It finally got there.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. A bit of memery towards the end of that game, but Carleton, I mean, they really put